What's up guys, today I will talk about the issues with the queue and smoke system in Battalion 1944, why they are happening and how to potentially fix them. The content of this video will be very technical, so it might not be that entertaining for you. However, my next video will be smokes on coastal, so stay tuned for that. In my opinion, right now there are some very big problems with the smoke grenades in Battalion 1944. But I strongly believe in the dev team of Battalion, so I decided to make this video to help them out. At first I will tell you what the bugs are. At second I will explain why they're happening. And finally I will share my ideas on how they could be fixed efficiently. The first bug happens when two players are facing each other on one side of the smoke grenade. It often happens that only one player can see the other, but not the other way around. The second bug is that the smoke seems to cover different areas depending on the player's perspective. The third and biggest bug is that you can see through the side of a smoke if you look on it in a 45-degree angle. The last bug I ran into is that the smoke particle system is calculated client-sided. Every player sees a different looking smoke. So at first, to show why these bugs are happening, I will try to explain Battalion smoke system a little bit. I will recreate it in some examples in Adobe After Effects for explaining purposes. Smokes are basically a particle system with multiple 2D animated textures. So one single particle basically looks similar to this. To make it look like a real smoke grenade, this particle gets spawned near the grenade and slowly moves up and to the side until it disappears. If I simply increase the spawn rate of this particle system, you can see that we already come close to the look of the smoke in Battalion. Now I will add this particle system into a 3D room, like it's met in Battalion, and it will look like this. However, if I fly around it now, you can still see that it's like a 2D texture. So I'll adjust the rotation of the smoke to always face the view angles of my camera like in Battalion. So from a top view, the orange thing here shows the player and his view angles with a field of view of 105 degree like in-game. And the green thing here shows the smoke grenade. So the rotation now always faces the view angles of the player. So in this example I can now explain why the first bug happens. Imagine one player facing the other through one side of the smoke, like you can see here. I will mark the spot on the smoke where the player is looking through. Now I'm gonna move my camera to the perspective of the other player. You will see that the smoke rotates 180 degrees. So you can notice now that both players actually do not look through the same side of the smoke texture. So this is a problem when the smoke is not evenly on both sides. I paused my smoke grenade animation in this example in a state where it's much thicker on the right side than on the left side. What happens is that the other player can see me, but I cannot see him, as for him it's rotated 180 degrees, so he looks through the thin side and I look through the thick one. A fairly simple solution to only fix this would be to at first have mirrored single particles. So basically I cut the particle texture in half with a fade, then duplicate it and mirror it. Afterwards I will mirror the particle system, so it will only cover one side of the smoke. And I duplicate it and change the X velocity direction with the same random seed, so it looks the same on both sides. This would fix the first problem, however it wouldn't fix all problems. The problem that you can look through the side of a smoke if you look on it with a 45-degree angle is because the smoke as a whole acts like a 2D texture. So if you look through a smoke while facing it, it will look like this. However, when you rotate yourself, the smoke does it with you. So once you turn 45 degrees to the left in this case, the smoke will turn and allow you to see more as shown in my example. The bug that you can see different things being covered in smoke from different perspectives is also caused by the 2D behavior of smoke grenades in Battalion. At last, there is the bug that different players see different looking smokes. This is caused because each client calculates his own random behavior of the smoke particle system. Every virtual random system has a so-called random seed, which decides how this random action will take place. When you, for example, roll a dice with numbers 1 to 6 with a random seed 10 and you get a 2, it means that it doesn't matter how often you roll the dice with the random seed 10, you will always get a 2. So at first let me say that I have never worked with the Unreal Engine. My concept might not be sensual at all with it. Also some parts of my concept will have an impact on performance, so people with lower end PCs might run into FPS problems. So I quickly summarize all the changes that I need to do. I need to change the smoke displaying like a 2D image and the rotation based on the player's view angles, which comes with it. I need to mirror the particles on the vertical axis. And I need to change the way the particles are facing the player. And at last, I need to use a fixed random seed so my smoke looks the same every time I play it. To make the smoke look the same for everyone on the server, it's not needed to calculate it completely server-sided. There are basically only two things which need to be sent to the client by the server. At first, the server needs to calculate position and timing of the smoke explosion and send it to the client. And second, the server needs to calculate the random seed and send it to the client. So the random behavior of the smoke is the same for everyone. I made the smoke behaving like a real 3-dimensional particle system. So everything stayed the same, just that now each particle and not the whole smoke is facing my view angles. Afterwards I adjusted the velocity, so the particles move into all directions. Additionally, I mirrored the particles, as the problem I described earlier would also happen now with single particles. I doubled the particle spawn rate to make sure that the smoke is thick enough. Now we have already fixed nearly every bug which there is in Battalion's smoke grenade. Sadly, in this example I cannot change how the particles face me. They are still facing my view angles, which leads into a changing appearance of the smoke depending on where you look at. So I created another example to explain how I think it would work better. In this example, each particle is facing the player's position and not his view angles. So looking around doesn't change the appearance of the smoke. However, this should only change the y-axis rotation. So I changed that it only faces the player on the y-axis. So now you can see some test scenario images and videos. I tried out different situations to see if all the bugs would be fixed with the changes I made. The recreated Battalion smoke doesn't cover up the same things from different perspectives. In my smoke concept, the perspective doesn't matter. The recreated Battalion smoke makes seeing through one-sided if it's uneven. My smoke concept makes both players see the exact same thing. Particles facing view angles makes the smoke cover different parts of the background when you turn yourself. If the particles are facing the player position, this doesn't happen. In these images you see two players near smoke. Once with particles facing view angles and once with particles facing player position. Player 1 can see player 2, but not the other way around. Both players cannot see each other. Player 2 can see player 1, but not the other way around. Both players cannot see each other. Particles facing player's position is not perfect. When a player is very close to the smoke, he could be able to see the other players one-sided. If I would decrease the particle size and increase the particle count, it would be fixed, with the cost of performance. So that's it for this video. It turned out to be way more work than I thought. I hope at least some of you guys liked it, even though it's very technical stuff. For future content I will focus more on smokes and spot videos and stuff like this. So anyways, until next time, have a nice day and see you in Battalion 1944.